9 is back. Wait, that doesn't sound right. The Walking Dead is back, ladies and gentlemen, and this was the last chance for the series to really shine. A lot of people were holding on hope, really thinking that Season 9, the premiere, would remind them of the old days of The Walking Dead. Now, I have good news and bad news. Let's get into the good news. The good news is that in Episode 1, the dialogue is miles better than Season 8, Season 7, Season 6, all of the Gimple seasons, miles better, hands down. There are still a few hiccups here and there with the dialogue, but nothing major like in Season 8 where we had atrocious talking, where they talked like aliens, and that's a good positive. I think a lot of the character moments in this episode are very interesting, especially with our old group, Rick and Daryl and Michonne. Daryl gets a lot of screen time. I'm very pleasantly surprised by that. But then we have bad news. This episode feels completely all over the place. We have the Washington, D.C. scene. We have them with Gregory at the end, near the end, and we have them trying to get the horses back. This episode feels like a train wreck from the start. This episode is called A New Beginning, but doesn't feel like a new beginning. It feels almost as a continuation of Season 8. I wanted to see more communities working together. We saw that at least at an extent, but we didn't really see the full potential of that. I know we're going to see more of it in the rest of the season, but I wanted to see more of it. It's a similar problem I had with All Out War in Season 8. I wanted to see more of All Out War when they kept talking about it. Hopefully in Season 9 of The Walking Dead, they're not going to go down that same trend where they don't talk, where they keep talking about it, but they don't really show it. I want to see the new world. I want to see the groups interacting more. I want to see a new beginning. I want to see basically a new city, a new world, and we didn't really get much of that in this episode. We get a really, really awesome scene in Washington, D.C. where they go in this supply run for new stuff to shape the world into a better place, to start a better community. They have to go to D.C., and there's a lot of really creepy moments in this scene. You have zombies with bugs coming out of their mouths and spiders coming out of their mouths, and most of this scene is fantastic. I love the look. I love the place where they go into the museum. All of that is very, very good, and I was on the edge of my seat. But after that, it just felt like the Washington, D.C. scene was a missed potential. The characters go back. We lose a character that we've never met before. I think his name's Ken or Kenneth. He just dies, and you don't feel anything. You feel nothing with this character. And that was a problem I had with this episode, and the back half of this episode. And Ezekiel, I'll get to the rest in a minute. Ezekiel proposing to Carol. We've never seen these two characters in love before. They've had flirting times before in the past. They've never been dating. And for Ezekiel to propose to Carol on a horse in the middle of nowhere felt like a comedy. It didn't feel right. It didn't flow right. It felt completely off. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I don't know why they shoved that down our throat. That really brought the scene down. Then when Ken gets bit, I was like, so what? Who cares? We don't know who this person is. I don't care about this person. The problem is, after this, we go to the hilltop, after this little brief sanctuary scene, and we stay at the hilltop and we see Gregory trying to get power again against Maggie. It would be more interesting if Gregory we extended Gregory's moment, and Gregory, instead of being Hun in the end of this episode, he was Hun in episode 2. I feel like this episode should have primarily been in Washington, D.C. It should have not been called A New Beginning. It should have been called something else. Episode 2 should be called A New Beginning. Episode 1 should primarily have been in Washington, D.C. I thought that was a great location. It was a big missed opportunity. I don't think they're going back to Washington, D.C. in Season 9. If they do, I will be surprised. But it's a big missed opportunity. Gregory in the second half is trying to overthrow Maggie. There's so much darkness and there's so much tension rising, but it just didn't feel like it was a premiere. I wanted to see more of characters interacting, like Rick stepping up to the plate. And we saw that with the Sanctuary. Some of the Saviors really like Rick, some of them don't like Rick. And that's very interesting. Some of the dialogue in this episode is very, very good, especially between Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln, and Daryl, which is Norman Reedus. These characters interacting felt like earlier seasons, and the dialogue was very, very fluent, and it was very smooth in my opinion. One of the standout moments was Michonne and Rick in bed talking about them building the bridge. Everything felt great from the start to the finish. The dialogue is not the problem in this episode. Well, at least most of the episode. We have some stupid moments like Alden singing at the funeral. Could have easily been cut out. Too many characters. There's still too many characters plaguing this episode, plaguing the show. There's just not enough time to explore every character. And of course, Gregory dying at the end of this episode just felt a little bit rushed, like they were just trying to kill him at the end. I mean, it was suspenseful, but I kind of wanted him to die in episode 2. They should have started something little at the end of this episode and then extended it to episode 2. Or it should have, like I said, this episode should have primarily been in Washington, D.C. This episode should be in Washington, D.C. Episode 2 should be about them getting back from Washington and Gregory plotting his scheme. And then episode 3 should be about them building the bridge. And I think that would have a lot more time to breathe. But Angela Kane is shoving this down our throats. It's very fast-paced. There's too much going on, in my opinion. I wanted to see more about these groups. I wanted to see the groups interacting more of a new world, a new beginning, like they were talking about so much. There was a little bit too much dialogue. Now, while the dialogue was refreshingly great, in my opinion, most of the dialogue was great. There's problems. I felt like the audio was off. Even Oliver couldn't really hear it very well. And I don't know what's going on. This is very similar to Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, where the voices are mumbled and you can't really understand what they're saying. This needs to be fixed. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it was just my TV, but there was definitely something wrong, and you couldn't really understand all of what they were trying to say. That was one of the problems. And Gregory trying to talk to the people, trying to get them on his side, felt a little bit rushed because you don't know these people. You don't know that son. You don't know their child. And that is really what was wrong in this episode. The suspense was off. They should have at least killed, they should have killed Tara off. And yeah, that they should have like worked it around to have people care about Tara instead of the guy's, the guy's family, him. And that would have been much, much better. All right, even though Gregory's death felt a tad bit rushed, it was still a brutal scene and a step in the right direction. Angela Kane is not afraid to push the show forward and kill off the annoying characters that have been dragging the show down. Gregory had to go. It felt like him talking to this family that we don't even know about, it didn't work right, in my opinion. It would have worked better if he was talking to someone we knew and they kind of sided against Rick, but no, it's just some random characters we've never met before. And that's just a problem I have. There's characters that they shove down our throats that just add nothing to the show. These little characters. We've had the same issues for years and years and years, and they continue to do it in Season 9. Let's talk about the music. The music is great. The gore is back. The action scenes in this premiere are great. The zombies, when they get killed, there's blood that goes everywhere. All of that is fantastic. I love the performances. Most of the performances are great with the characters. All of the acting is top-notch and way better than what we got in the Gimple seasons. And overall, Season 9 of The Walking Dead, the premiere, I have to give it a mixed review. I'm sorry. Some people thought this was a great, phenomenal episode. I thought it was pretty all over the place. Now, Gregory, he had to go, okay? And it's a good move from Angela Kane. The problem I have is the way they set it up. Him scheming near the end of the episode just felt like it was thrown in there for a premiere and not for the storyline's sake. And it just dragged down the episode when Gregory was plotting his scheme. I think it would have worked a little bit better if they put it in episode 2 so we could have a little bit of time to breathe. But nevertheless, they killed him off. And yeah, this premiere was a bit rocky, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot going on. We have the Washington scene, which was great. Probably the best part of the episode, in my opinion. Very suspenseful, very scary, very chilling. A lot of good character moments. And then we get to the sanctuary with Rick and them, and the great moments. The parts that don't work, in my opinion, are when people start sitting around and really start talking about their feelings. The dialogue, while great, does get a little bit too boring at times, in my opinion. I know it's trying to set up stuff, but I wanted stuff to get moving a little bit more, if that makes any sense. I mean, it's a premiere we're talking about. It really should have taken place primarily in Washington, D.C. Huge missed opportunity. I'm going to give this episode a C+. Positive things, the gore, the acting, the dialogue, all of that is a big improvement. Stuff I don't like is characters making stupid choices, characters getting killed off that we don't even know about, that we've never met before, rushed stuff, too many characters. I still don't know about the camera. I don't like the look of the show. They promised a new look. It looks a tad bit improved over Season 8, but still has this murky, ugly look to it. And that is just what I don't like. C+ for me. Episode's not perfect. Not a great premiere. I like it better than Season 8's premiere, I will say that. This is a step in the right direction. Not perfect. It's not great, but it's not bad either. It's a pretty okay episode. And is the show back? I have to say no, unfortunately. I don't think the show will ever come back, and you will never get your love that you once had for the show. Is it an improvement over the other seasons? Season 7, 8, 6, 5? I would say yes. I think it is a big improvement. I really was invested in the characters. There was just too much of it, though. Some of the dialogue after a while got a little bit too, yeah. In older seasons, people had problems because there was too much dialogue. They were talking a little bit too much about their feelings, especially in Season 4. And yeah, that was a little bit of a problem, for me at least. I wanted stuff to get a little bit more fast-paced. But yeah, C+ for me. Hope you enjoyed the review. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to whatever the heck you want to do, and goodbye. Bye, everyone.